anything that has to do with technology creating opportunity for us, I find very enjoyable. That would be my preference as well.
Why your preference?
Well, look, I'm going to be 72 years old tomorrow. I've put in almost 50 years. There are other things in life that I'd like to do.
Hi, this is Eileen. So, is Mickey Mouse about to lose his house? Sounds dramatic, right? Almost unthinkable. Disney isn't just a company, it's a cultural icon with a legacy that spans nearly a century. But recent headlines tell a different story. One of underperforming movies, controversial casting decisions, and a strategy that seems to embrace backlash rather than avoid it. The first question now is this: can Disney's decades of goodwill withstand the harsh scrutiny of a shifting audience? Despite being the ultimate symbol of childhood wonder for generations, the House of Mouse finds itself at a crossroads. The studio that once defined magical entertainment now makes headlines for box office flops and polarizing public statements. From Rachel Zegler's eyebrow-raising remarks about the SnowWhite remake to the staggering financial losses of recent films, Disney seems to be relying on controversy to stay in the spotlight. But is this a desperate gamble or a bold strategy? Let's dive into the storm swirling around Disney, the controversies, the financial challenges, and what lies ahead. Let's rewind for a second. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the film that started it all for Disney, was the epitome of everything magical, a pure and timeless fairy tale that launched an empire. Fast forward to today, and Disney is gearing up for a live-action reimagining of Snow White, starring Rachel Zegler. At first, fans were thrilled. A rising star taking on such an iconic role. But that excitement didn't last long. Zegler stirred up controversy when she publicly criticized the 1937 classic, calling it outdated and lamenting its portrayal of Snow White.
I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous films. And those performances are so wonderful that you don't want to try to recreate anything because there's the fear of failing miserably. But also it's 64 years before the original films take place, the original books, and Francis Lawrence, who directed Catching Fire and both Mockingjay films, and Nina, who produced all of the Hunger Games content, they didn't put any pressure on us to try to recreate anything.
Implying that the classic Snow White lacked modern values or agency for its heroine struck a nerve with loyalists who grew up cherishing the gentle princess and her woodland friends. For them, Rachel Zegler's remarks felt like a direct attack on a beloved piece of Disney history. And the internet, it exploded. Social media platforms lit up with outrage, with fans accusing both Zegler and Disney of pushing woke messaging over honoring a timeless legacy. But instead of backtracking or recalibrating their marketing strategy, Disney leaned into the uproar. Zegler's critiques became the talk of the town, overshadowing the traditional hype cycle for a family film. From Twitter to YouTube, debates raged about just how far the new Snow White would stray from its roots. And in a bizarre twist, Zegler's polarizing stance became Disney's secret weapon. Why? Because controversy does something traditional ads can't. It hooks into trending conversations, making the film impossible to ignore. Even the haters became part of the buzz. Negative chatter still drives curiosity. People might see the movie just to judge for themselves whether Zegler's Snow White truly abandons the fairy tale romance. But here's the big question. Is all publicity really good publicity? Or is this gamble staining Disney's reputation in ways they won't recover from? While Zegler's comments and the Snow White drama keep Disney in the spotlight, the real nightmare for executives is unfolding where it matters most, the box office. Analysts report that Disney's recent string of releases, animated and live action combined, has racked up losses nearing $1 billion.
The one where he was in the boxing ring, and Howard Cosell, who was then a famous announcer for ABC Sports, introduced him. And I was asked at some point to get Mr. Sinatra Listerine We're at Madison Square Garden. It's not like there's a Listerine store at Madison Square Garden. So I dutifully ran out and found a drugstore of some sort. This is before CVS. This is 45 years ago.
For a studio once hailed as a money-making machine, losing nearly $1 billion is staggering. Take The Little Mermaid live-action reboot. It had the internet buzzing for months, especially with Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel. But all that noise didn't translate into blockbuster success, despite a massive marketing push. If you look at The Little Mermaid live-action reboot, it had the internet buzzing for emotional costs. And this isn't a one-off. Strange World and Lightyear outright flopped. Even Disney's Golden Geese, Marvel and Pixar are struggling. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed compared to its Marvel predecessors, and Pixar's once bright star power seems to have dimmed. And this marks a dramatic shift from just a few years ago, when Marvel was synonymous with smash hits and Pixar guaranteed both critical and financial triumphs. Now, industry insiders are scrambling to answer the big question: what went wrong? Is Disney's quality slipping? Or are audiences simply burned out? Here's the harsh truth. Disney can't coast on brand loyalty anymore. Lavish productions and billion-dollar marketing campaigns aren't enough when audiences are more selective about how and where they spend their money. Streaming, at-home entertainment, and cautious spending habits are making theaters less appealing, and Disney's once simple formula: iconic stories, stunning visuals, and a sprinkle of magic is no longer a sure bet. The problem? Oversaturation. Marvel movies, once cultural events, are now so frequent they've lost their luster. The same goes for Star Wars. Remember when fans would line up for hours just to catch a glimpse of lightsabers and space battles? Those days feel far away. After countless sequels, spin-offs, and series, excitement has fizzled. Why? Even Disney's live-action remakes, which used to feel like monumental occasions of Beauty and the Beast, anyone, have become routine. They're churned out so quickly that each release feels less like an event and more like just another content drop. The magic of exclusivity is gone. And Melanisha, like we talked about this here's the kicker. Disney's relentless production schedule leaves no time for audiences to actually miss the brand. In the past, limited releases made each movie special. Now, there's always something new on the horizon. And ironically, with more content than ever, fewer projects actually stand out. This fatigue is magnified by the endless battle for viewers' attention in the streaming age. Disney was once synonymous with premium, must-see entertainment, but pumping out sequels and spin-offs at lightning speed has shifted the perception. It's no longer about quality, it's about quantity. And when fans feel less urgency to show up at theaters, even Disney's powerhouse brand can't fill seats. Of course.
It's not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office. It just is far more difficult. I've never been in it, but from what I observe, it's far more difficult to run for office today than ever before.
Instead of retreating, Disney is leaning into another powerful strategy: controversy. It's a calculated risk, playing on the age-old adage that no press is bad press. Sure, some fans are calling Disney too woke or out of touch, but every viral tweet, TikTok rant, and fiery YouTube takedown keeps Disney firmly in the cultural spotlight. Love it or hate it, people are still talking. And here's the kicker: when the dust settles, curiosity lingers. People want to see what Disney will do next, whether it's out of genuine excitement or sheer intrigue. That buzz could, in theory, keep audiences coming to theaters. Or, at the very least, subscribe to Disney+. But the big question is sustainability.